Art, frames and framed prints, birdhouses, candles, wind chimes, and more. Open Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5, and Saturday, 8:30 to noon. Treasures Remembered Florist and Greenhouse, 600 West Locust Street, Princeton. Serving Princeton and Caldwell County for over 100 years.
Time to take a look at community news here on 1580 103.3 WPKY. This morning's
Sure box of peaches from the Caldwell County High School football team and benefit the kids in your neighborhood. Just ask the Caldwell County football player how, and they can get you your box. Sweet peaches headed your way.
Highland Baptist Youth Challenge Mission Rally is August 3rd. They're in need of mission projects for churches in the area for them to complete. In the past, they've built wheelchair ramps and did various yard work. So about 300 folks participate. They did 22 projects last year. You can call Highland for more information, 963-9151, or visit the church at 318 Baker Street in Princeton.
Well, the Caldwell County primary, elementary, and middle schools is on the books for another Library Fun Day, and the Hope and Cope Center is preparing for a fun activity for Monday, July 8th. Middle schoolers can even take advantage of the summer reading program, get ahead in points before the school year begins, making reading fun.
Every child needs a play date. The Caldwell County Extension Office has scheduled a Laugh and Learn preschool play date. Next Monday, July 8th, activities designed for children ages 5 and under. Children must be accompanied by an adult. Call 365-2787 to register.
Well, the next Community Blood Drive event has been announced. Join the Bloodmobile for the Caldwell Community Blood Drive at the Butler Building parking lot, 612 West Washington Street on Thursday, July 11th in Princeton. Now, you can pick up your free T-shirt and also receive a free non-fasting cholesterol screening while you're there. The WKRBC reminds us of the guidelines for blood donation. Of course, all donors must be 17 years of age or 16 years with a parent consent form. Donors must weigh at least 115 pounds, must check all medications with staff, and wait 56 days between donations. Now, all donors must show a photo ID as well. They're also reminded to please eat and drink well before and after donation. For more information, call the WKRBC at 888-684-9296.
And the First Baptist Church Clothing Room opening the fourth Tuesday of every month from 8:30 to 10:30. The next opening will be July 23rd. A large selection of clothing for men, women, and children. Please use the Cave Street entrance door. First Baptist Church located at 300 West Main Street in Princeton.
Well, featuring the Freemans, we have a 10th annual Summer Slam. Taryn Wells, Colton Dixon from American Idol. The Color at 445 on the Butler Lawn in Princeton. Inflatables, concessions, family attractions kick it all off at noon. Join WPKY for a day full of free fun. And did I say free fun and music for the whole family? For more information, contact H&R Ministries, 270-963-0671.
1580 103.3 WPKY Coffee Talk is on the air. Morning conversations about things of interest to you. If you'd like to be a guest on Coffee Talk, just email us your information at WPKYonline@gmail.com. We're proud to call Caldwell County home. WPKY.
1580 103.3 WPKY. Tess and Ty and Coffee Talk and Joni Phelps. She, this is my cookie lady. I call her my cookie lady. I can't help myself. How are you?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
I'm good. You know what I got yesterday?
What?
I got a carrot cake from Trimble Farms.
Oh,
so
my
I'm
gosh.
exceptionally good today.
You had some carrots, didn't you?
If
That's
she's your
right.
cookie lady, what is she to me?
Well, she can. Well, I don't know.
Can't she be our cookie lady?
No, I don't share her. When they make cookies and cook anything like she does, I don't share. Go find your own, big boy.
I gave you the whole
that
cake.
one's mine.
I gave you the whole cake.
And I ate it.
Miss Lisa
The whole cake.
Miss Lisa does great with her as far as cakes, and she throws in vegetables in there as well. Have you ever had her zucchini bread?
Yes.
Amazing.
We
And the
about that.
only thing better than her zucchini bread is her zucchini bread that she does with the chocolate chips in it.
Oh.
It's even better. Of course, you can find that at the farmer's market as well. Yesterday's carrot cake had raisins in it. Oh, it was amazing.
Yes, and I'm sure she will be there. Well, no, I take that back. They will not be open Thursday because it is 4th of July.
That's right. But they'll be there
Yeah,
Saturday.
exactly, and I
So
guarantee
that's
she'll
just as
have
good.
some good goodies along with everybody else there.
Oh, they do such a good job. So but that actually makes your job easy when they can go to the farmer's market and pick up all this wonderful food, and then you can show them what to do with it, right?
That's right, exactly.
So what do you got coming up?
Well, going to talk about our Farm City breakfast that's coming
I
up.
cannot wait for that.
Yes,
I'm hungry this morning.
Last
Can you
day
tell?
to get tickets today, isn't it?
It is the last day to get tickets, or actually it's Friday.
They extended it.
no, it is July 3rd.
Yeah,
Excuse
that's
me.
today, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
is today.
today.
Yes, it is. It is today. So if you have not got your ticket yet, I encourage you to go do so, because this is going to be I know it's on a Saturday. I know it's early, but it's for a great cause.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if anybody knows how to do breakfast, it's a farmer.
Yeah. So, well, and Mitzi Travis is going to be our caterer, and she does a fantastic job far as with catering and that, and so I'm very excited about her being able to cater for us and that. So, but today is our last day to purchase tickets.
Can you tell them about the guest speaker? If some of us aren't, aware of, of him, and just let us know, what they're going to learn about.
Okay, well, I'm just going to be very honest with you. I know that he is going to be talking about far as bridging the gaps, but I'm not really sure the rest. I'm just going to be honest with you. So
he is the County and Local Government Relations
Yes. Director
for the UK. They call it UK Cafe, I guess.
Yes.
So I think he's a liaison between local governments and the extension services to
Correct.
try to bridge those gaps.
Correct.
About legislation and different things such as that. But the great thing about this particular breakfast is what it benefits, and that's
Exactly.
close to your heart.
And that is why I'm here for promoting this, because it is very near and dear to my heart, and that's the Caldwell County Backpack Program, Feeding God's Children. And so that's one reason why I wanted to promote. And when we've been doing far as different breakfasts, or far as having farm to tables for many years and that, and then we wanted to do something else, and this time it was brought up, well, why don't we do a fundraiser for the backpack program? We will start back as soon as school starts back with sending food home with these children and that, and so we need some funds. And so whenever they brought it to me, I said, absolutely, I'm all for it. So just to give you a little bit of statistics about far as just our county alone when it comes to food insecurity, in 2017 we had over 1,820 food insecurity in our county. And our county's average between 12,000 people, and 1,820 of them, are food insecure. And that's right here in our county. And that's not including our children. That's the adults, that's children, that's everybody. When it comes to our children, that is far as 18.4%. And
that's unimaginable.
It is
really
unimaginable here in our county, in our backyard.
These are the kids that you see every day. They're the kids that are over there at the football field sometimes. Mm-hmm. Those are the kids that are sitting down the pew from you at church. These are the kids that you don't think about. And sometimes say, oh, I don't want to tattle. I think the family might have problems, but I don't know. No, this is something that you need to make a suggestion somewhere. Let somebody know that these children are, maybe suffering.
Absolutely. Because like you said, they're everywhere, and they're places that we don't think, oh, well, they're here. Well, that don't necessarily mean that they haven't been fed today.
And the backpack program, what does that do for them?
Okay, I send home around probably 15 to 18 far as kid-friendly food items that they can make themselves, fix themselves, and they don't have to have an adult to help them. That goes home each Friday of the week, and then they'll get one every week throughout the whole school year.
That way they know that over the weekend that they are still eating, when they're not at school.
Right, absolutely, because a lot of times the only meal that they have is breakfast. Our school has been fantastic at being able to offer breakfast for them now and lunch, and that may be the only two meals that they get throughout the week, and then when the weekend comes, they may not get anything until that following Monday.
Right.
So, just being able to furnish a little bit to help them, it's not going to take away that hunger pain, but it will help them a little bit to be able to function throughout that weekend.
Well, one thing I love about that you're doing this year with this breakfast is I'm going to admit it, the air conditioning.
Absolutely. It's inside.
We're not outside,
year.
right?
You're right, exactly. It is inside. It's at First Baptist Church in their Life Center. And so I know it's going to be awful early. We're going to have meet and greet from 7:30 to 8, but I promise you, we'll get you in and out early. And what better way to do, as far as fundraising for this, it's $12. You can't go to a buffet,
no.
And eat
get
that
a quality
much.
breakfast
Exactly.
and to mingle.
You can network at the same time. It'll be fantastic.
So, and for a wonderful cause.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
You've done tremendous work with this for years. You, the partnership with the Hope and Cope Center, Feeding America.
Yes.
It's a great relationship.
Absolutely. There's several of us that it takes for us to be able to make this program go around. Not only us that does the job of it, but our community members, because I have to thank them one more time.
Sure.
Because if it wasn't for our community members and their loving support of this program wouldn't be here.
Well, it's kind of like Jonathan said yesterday, it takes a village.
Absolutely.
Or a county, I guess we
Absolutely.
could say. And that, the farmers and the families and everybody coming together in the county, you're talking about $12.
Right.
That is worth it. And the amount of food and care that it's giving to the children far exceeds $12.
And not to mention your donations throughout the year. I mean, you have folks bringing you non-perishable food items and different things, easy to prepare foods that these children can make over the weekend. That's easy, and so you have lots of community support as well for that.
Absolutely, and if they, you can't make it to this breakfast and you still would like to donate and support, you can do so as well throughout the whole school year. It's $120 to sponsor a child throughout that school year, but even if you don't have $120, I would be happy to take $1 from you just because every little bit helps. I'm not a greedy person when it comes to that. Like I said, whatever you can give, and if you can't give as far as monetary donations, we have a list as far as food donations, and I'd be happy to take that as well. So,
and I know a lot of parents that are kind of looking for ways throughout the summer for their kids to be involved and to volunteer and, to do things and get in the groove of doing things young, in the community, and the kids that they sit in the classroom with every day. So that's a good way to get the kids involved as well.
Right. Absolutely. So, yeah. So, but like I said, if you can't make it, you can contact me at the extension office. That number is 270-365-2787. I will be happy to discuss more with you about the program and that. So,
And get your ticket today.
Absolutely.
Well, now, let's get that number one more time.
Okay, it's 270-365-2787.
And if you missed her saying it, it's going to be on just a little bit on our website, WPKYonline.com, just in case they missed it. And I guarantee that you can figure it out. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you all for having me this morning.
That's a really important program that you're doing, and we'd like to see that really succeed.
Yes, me too.
Miss Joni Phelps from the Caldwell County Extension Office, thanks so much for being with us. And, of course, stick around. Who've we got next, Ty?
We will have Police Chief Chris King and Fire Chief Brent Francis. They're in the house for a visit.
Let's make sure. I thought it started getting got hot in here all of a sudden. What?
And Chief King hasn't broken out his handcuffs yet, so that's a good sign.
Joni's running. It got hot in here.
Joni, thank you.
Thank you so much. 818 Tess and Ty, 103.3 WPKY.
Looking to save some money on shoes your kids will love? Then look to Skechers. We've been making great and affordable kids' shoes for almost 30 years. We're experts in incredible fits, and we applied everything we know into our boys and girls' shoes, all made with soft, durable, lightweight, and flexible fabrics. Plus, Skechers kids' shoes have comfort features like Skechers' famous air-cooled memory foam. And since they're Skechers, you know they're affordable, stylish, and built to last. Get your kids some Skechers at a Skechers store near you, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish shoes are sold.
You do it right to make updates to your home. Lowe's does it right too with July 4th savings throughout the store, like $15 off gallon cans and $45 off 5-gallon pails via Lowe's gift card rebate when you buy select paint and stain. Get up to 40% off select appliance special values. And with your Lowe's Advantage card, ask for up to 24 months no interest on purchases of $19.99 or more. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 7/10. Credit offer valid through 7/7. Minimum purchase required, subject to credit approval, and can't be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. U.S. only.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors & More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors & More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. Quality brands, excellent customer service, combined with 40 years experience is why they say you can walk on our reputation. See Bill and Lucy at Perry's Floors & More, 127 West Market Street, Princeton.
Hey guys, Heidi with Capitol Cinemas, your local Princeton movie theater with your weekday lineup. In Cinema 1, Toy Story 4, rated G, 1 hour 45 minutes. Shows Monday through Wednesday at 5 and 7:30. Moves to Cinema 2 on Tuesday, and it shows Thursday in Cinema 2 at 1:15, 4 and 6:45. Starting in Cinema 1, Tuesday and Wednesday, 5 and 7:30, Spider-Man Far From Home. PG-13, 2 hours 15 minutes. Also shows Thursday at 1:15, 4 and 6:45. In Cinema 3, Annabelle Comes Home, rated R, 1 hour 50 minutes. Shows Monday through Wednesday at 5 and 7:30, and Thursday at 1:15, 4 and 6:45. This week's free movie, Saturday, July 6th, The Emoji Movie. Doors open at 10, movie starts at 10:30. This week's free movie star sponsors are Dr. Emery Spradlin, Eye Care Center of Princeton and Marion, Philip and Celeste Sisk, Farless Realty, Dr. Ed and Cecile Settle, Farm Bureau Insurance, Rushing Chiropractor Center, Farmers Bank and Trust, District Judges Jameis Red and Natalie White, First Southern National Bank, Princeton Rotary Club, Fredonia Valley Bank, and Princeton Lumber. Please thank them. Call during showtime hours at 270-365-0200 or visit us at capitalcinemas.net. Thanks for listening. See you at the show.
This is Mallory Hancock Lawrence, and we love our Caldwell and Lyon County friends. We invite you to come to Cada's anytime you can to shop with us, and we're making it even easier for you. Whether you work in Cada's or just come to town for a visit, stop in and shop with us. But if you're in a hurry, you can pre-order your groceries at hancocksneighborhoodmarket.com. It's so easy and convenient. Of course, we want to see your smiling face anytime we can, but if you're in a hurry, hancocksneighborhoodmarket.com is the way to go. Hancock's Neighborhood Market, Cada's.
It's all at your fingertips now at WPKYonline.com. Local video, local news, local sports, local weather information, and of course, contests. Plus, you can listen to us on your smart device. Just click the Listen Now button. We've made it easier to find your favorite information. WPKYonline.com.
Looking to save some money on shoes your kids will love? Then look to Skechers. We've been making great and affordable kids' shoes for almost 30 years. We're experts in incredible fits, and we applied everything we know into our boys and girls' shoes, all made with soft, durable, lightweight, and flexible fabrics. Plus, Skechers kids' shoes have comfort features like Skechers' famous air-cooled memory foam. And since they're Skechers, you know they're affordable, stylish, and built to last. Get your kids some Skechers at a Skechers store near you, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish shoes are sold.
1580 103.3 WPKY, and Ty is shaking in his boots for some reason. Did it get hot?
Now.
Temp went up like 25 degrees in here. Look at him sweat.
No.
I don't know. Molly, you got a story to tell us?
I don't think so.
8:23 with Tess and Ty on Coffee Talk. And, of course, it wouldn't be 4th of July if we didn't have Chief Brent Francis with us. And, of course, Police Chief Chris King is with us. And we appreciate you guys being here this morning. And one of the things that you know, I when I gave him a call the other day, I said, you know, we get a lot of don't do this and don't do that and don't do. What can we do? Let's talk about cans too, because
we're talking about fireworks here. We're not talking about just things in general. You just say what can we do? And I mean,
hey, if I've got him in the room, just don't stop him.
There's
okay?
lots of stuff we can or can't do.
Okay.
I don't think we ought to get into everything.
You know,
we can start by reading.
I tried to get the scoop, people.
Good morning.
So, what can we do firework-wise?
Well, with the fireworks, it is important that we read the directions and follow the directions.
Men don't read directions?
Well, that's true, but you need to listen to your wife on this one for sure.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that once again?
Fire and explosions and bombs. What could go wrong there?
Oh, hello.
Yeah, we're going to play with fire. We're going to play with bombs, basically. So, there's a little potential there, and we do take it for granted a lot of times. I can remember the first firecracker that went off while I was holding it, you know, when I was very young. I don't remember how young, but that was a lesson learned pretty quickly. But you don't need to depend on getting lucky to learn those lessons. A lot of folks, experience can be a good teacher, but it can also be a hard teacher, and you're not guaranteed second chances. You know, you only got two eyes, or some of us don't even still have two, but it's, your eyes are so precious, so important. And sometimes we just don't realize how careless, that we are. Something as simple as safety glasses, if you're going to be using fireworks, like say following the directions when you are going to light them. Just about all the rules and regulations that come with anything. Somebody paid a price to get that rule or get that regulation. We're not people aren't good about being real proactive. Most all of the safety precautions and instructions are basically written in blood. Yeah, it's bad to say that, but people have been hurt because of it, and that's why that safety regulation was written to begin with. So it is a heightened time of the year for accidents and injuries, because once you light that fuse, it's just like pulling the trigger on a gun. You can't call the bullet back. You can't call the firework back. Once it blows up in your hand or once it hits you in the eye, it's too late. The damage is done.
Well, and one of the things that we had talked about before, especially like in the city limits, especially too, but even out in the county, when we were talking about the fireworks and that sort of thing, last year they had the little balloons that you put the candles and that sort of thing in, and they get they float up and then eventually they come down. The Chinese lanterns.
Yes.
And that's dangerous. Those can really land on houses and hay bales.
That makes for a nice commercial, but you shouldn't try that. That what they say is don't try that at home. Nobody should ever, we refer to that as firebombing the city or firebombing the county, and it looks good in a commercial on TV, but they've had that happen down at the lakes. They were going down in boats, in marinas, they're going down in the forest, setting forest fires, going down on people's roofs and damaging, roofs and stuff like that. So no, just because it looked good on TV doesn't mean we need to try to do that in reality. Maybe that was at the ocean with the wind blowing out over the ocean, and still, once you set that fire and and let it go, you've lost control of it.
Well, and really and truly, that's what's so dangerous about fireworks is you never have complete control, no matter what. In best case scenario, right? That's
correct. You can see the fireworks factories blowing up and burning on TV every once in a while where something unexpected happened. And, this stuff is made like most everything as cheaply as it can be made. It's sold as cheap as it can be. So there's always, anything man-made, there's always possibility of a malfunction. And, of course, if everything goes exactly perfect, then nobody will get hurt. But you have to have contingencies in place for when something does go wrong.
Well, and I know that there's what is the how far away from a house or structure are you supposed to stay? Because I know a lot of people. Well, I'm out in my driveway. Well, that could be like 10 foot from the house. You never know. What is the legal guidelines as far as how far away from the house do we need to be, or structure?
Well, according to state law, there's 3 parameters that you have to meet. You have to be at least 18 years of age. They cannot be ignited. I'm talking about anything that has a report or an explosion. They cannot be ignited within 200 feet of any structure, vehicle, or any other person. The other thing is use of fireworks does not place him or her in violation of any lawful enacted city ordinance or local ordinance. Now, our local ordinances talk about nuisances and noise emitted inside the city limits, so you could also fall under that.
Well, and a lot of people will say, okay, well, that's just in town. I can do whatever I want to out in the county. But that's not true.
No.
Just because you live outside a little line, which might be called the city limits, that doesn't mean that you can just do whatever you want to do, right?
That is correct. You still have to fall within those parameters of 200 feet of other people and structures.
Well, again, I want to hit that now, not just structures, but other people.
Right, and vehicles.
That is smart, and I didn't even think about that, and I miss worrywart. But when you think about hay bales or vehicles or tractors or four-wheelers or people, you need to stay, again, how many feet?
200 feet.
And then, of course, our noise ordinance. Now, that's in the city limits, I would assume that's what that is.
Yes.
And then what time is the cutoff? And what are we cutting off? Everything?
Well, there is no time limit on that now. The mayor has laxed that, I guess you would say, until 10 p.m. So it's basically be courteous of your neighbors, and because a lot of people have to go to work next day. So all week it's 10 o'clock. Fireworks should not be ignited after that.
Okay, and that's, hey, everybody has got, well, not everybody, but a lot of people have pets that are very, very scared. Even out in the county, I don't know if a lot of people understand or know it or not, even horses, they get very, very scared. And when it's going off and boom, boom, boom at 1 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock in the evening, it doesn't matter when, they get scared and they can break through the fences and then they can cause all kinds of problems. I mean, as far as getting hurt, they get wrapped up in the barbed wire. I mean, it's not a good scene and it's not a good thing. And the little animals, the cats and the dogs and those sorts of things, leave them at home, right? I mean, it's great that you love your best friend and you want them to go everywhere with you, but it's not a good idea to take them if you're going to a fireworks display, right?
Correct.
That's correct. A lot of animals don't react well to fireworks. Even hunting dogs that are used to, shooting around them a little bit. I've heard people talk about fireworks, ruining their hunting dog too, and so need to be very aware of how traumatic it can be for the pets and animals, because they're in a pen a lot of times, or they're constrained, and they can have a really bad experience.
Well, and that's what people too, right?
And
when you're talking about
too.
Military veterans and
young
PTSD.
kids, sometimes folks with certain disabilities have negative effects to that, as well as sometimes veterans, that have had bad experiences. So you've got lots of folks, and every year there's always a few people that try to go out at midnight or 1 or 2 in the morning and they're shooting fireworks out. And I just wonder sometimes if they realize how inconsiderate that is of folks with bad experiences in life, or the pets and animals and people that have to go to work the next day. I mean, surely folks aren't that insensitive to everything and everybody around them.
Well, and fireworks these days, it's not just for July 4th. When I was growing up, a lot of times that, was the main time that you saw them. And now you see them several times a year for, celebrations and holidays throughout the year, like New Year's Day is another big one. I mean, so same laws apply across the board as far as fireworks? I mean,
Yes.
Is that pretty well generalized across the board?
There's no dates or time limits on that. That's just the law.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I believe, actually, one of you had talked about just a few minutes ago about beer and how many. Well, we were kind of giggling a little bit. Don't get me wrong, but we were talking about that a lot of times alcohol and accidents have a lot to do with each other.
Yeah, we were talking about fire and bombs. What could go wrong with that? And then throw in a little alcohol, fire, and bombs. What in the world could go wrong there?
Right.
Yeah. You find yourself on that show Ridiculousness then.
Yes.
And so it can be a life-changing event if you put an eye out or blow a finger out, and any damage that your fireworks causes, you're responsible for that. If you damage somebody's property or injure another person, you're just as responsible for that as you would any other act that you do that causes injury or harm.
And it's about making good common sense, good decisions while we're doing this. We're celebrating with our families. Let's make some good decisions. Chief Francis, as we head into the holiday, again, remind us biggest concerns that we have countywide, citywide, as we head into the celebration with shooting off ordinances and fireworks.
Well, we do things during the holidays that we don't normally do throughout the year. Like at Christmas, we may have the only fire we have in the fireplace at Christmas. And then everybody loves to burn wrapping paper in the fireplace, right? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so what could go wrong there? And so we burn candles, that we don't. We grill more than we do other times of the year. We had a fire just the other day from a grill bottle that I think leaked, or a hose leaked, and wound up doing a lot of damage to the house.
Well, can you tell us how to check that? I mean, that is one of those things too that is so scary, because a lot of us, not everybody, but a lot of us are going to be grilling this weekend.
Those hoses dry rot.
What are we looking for there?
Well, contrary to popular belief, a grill bottle doesn't last forever. And I see a lot of grill bottles that look like they're 100 years old. And so it's a good, the hoses dry rot. They've changed valves. You still see a lot of those old cylinders out here that have valves that have been replaced because they're not compliant, with the new safety valves and stuff like that. So that stuff needs maintenance and attention. Rodents chew on the hoses sometimes. If you smell, I have people tell me, well, I've been smelling gas out there every time I grill for a while. Well, that's a big red flag. There's something that's leaking.
Not supposed to smell gas.
Yeah, you're not supposed
unless
to
you
smell
turn it
gas.
on. And maybe don't light it right away, right?
So don't continue grilling and smelling gas until you blow your grill up.
Well, and I'll tell you what I tattle on myself. I mean, because especially if it helps somebody else. I was grilling pork chops, and you know how the grease drips and the flame gets up. Well, it was a little bit windy, and I guess I didn't think about how close the grill was to the railing on the deck because I was too lazy, and I didn't take the grill out to the yard. I had it on the deck, as a lot of people do. And it wasn't up against the house. It was up against the yard side, but it was up against the railing, and I had this nice dark spot in my railing. Now it didn't catch, but it got close, and luckily I caught it before it did. But the grease and that sort of thing, it really got hot quick.
Yes, you can't. Some of the grills, cook by time and things like that, and you can almost walk away from them. But it's never a good idea just to light a grill and then walk away from it and not watch it. And then every time you go to do something like that, you ought to think, well, as long as everything works perfectly, it's okay for it to be sitting that close to the rail or maybe that close to the vinyl siding or under the porch or something like that. But you have to think about what would happen if something went wrong. If we did have a leak or we did have a big grease fire, on the grill, catch the food on fire, am I far enough away now? And so we need to really move those grills just a little further away sometimes. And be prepared and think about what it's going to do if something does go wrong and something catches on fire that's not supposed to.
Well, and notoriously, somebody is going to yell, "Mom!" or somebody's going to get our attention, and then we don't think about how much.
Or that cell phone rings, or we start talking.
Well, now I wouldn't answer my phone.
Yeah.
But you don't think about how much is coming out, how much heat is being let off by the back of the grill. And man, that's hot back there as well.
Well, as paranoid as I am about stuff like that, every time I go to do anything, almost, I think about. I have the advantage of thinking about somebody else that had a bad experience, doing that, and so that kind of gives me a heads up a little bit on it. But I don't even allow myself to boil water anymore. I'll be distracted. I've welded my teapot to the electric eye of the stove.
Oh my!
I'll tell that story on myself because I'm going to heat up some water, to make coffee or do something, and you get distracted. I get a phone call
every day.
Maybe it's about business. Maybe it's about something serious or not. And next thing you know, it's 20 minutes later. And of course, the stove only has 2 settings on it, doesn't it? Off and high.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah,
ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. And so with only 2 settings on the stove, off and high, then I come in and my pot's boiled dry and welded to die on the stove. So it can happen to anybody, and there's so much potential, in a modern world for something to go wrong.
Take your time and read instructions. And,
use medium.
And make good decisions. I'm going to switch back here to Chief King here. Again, remind us again about just things that the department and in the city would like folks to understand about our celebrations.
Well, we want everybody to have fun and be safe and just be within the law. Again, you must be 18 years of age to shoot off these fireworks.
Now, is that any fireworks? Or
that's the only ones, the ones that have a report or an explosion. Okay. Sparklers are different, spinning wheels, anything that doesn't have an explosion or a report. There's no age limit on that. But anything other than that, you have to be 18 years of age, not within 200 feet of any structure, person, or vehicle, and you also have to abide by local ordinances, which are the noise ordinances.
Well, and I think, sometimes everybody says, oh, they got all these rules. Well, we want to have fun, too. And that's why I wanted to kind of go over what we could do, too. Because everybody wants to have fun. We want to grill without, bad things happening. And we want to set off fireworks, and in the right way. Is there something when you do set off the fireworks, is it better on concrete? Is it better on gravel? How far away do I need to keep the hose? Is water what I need to put it out if it all goes wrong? Is it a fire extinguisher?
It's always a good idea to have water, garden hose or buckets, 5-gallon buckets of water or whatever, to where if if something does start to get out of control, you might can douse it all, to prevent a runaway event, a fire from getting into your stash of fireworks or something like that. But of course, we've had a lot of rain this year, but the wheat fields, we're in the wheat harvest. We had a big wheat field fire just yesterday that endangered some equipment and could have burnt acres and acres and acres of straw up. So there are some places that are ready. So if you happen to be out in the country, but there's a big field of wheat next to you that's dried and ready to burn, that would not be a good place to try to do your fireworks show, because if the wheat is not harvested, you could destroy the crop. If it is harvested, you could still destroy the straw crop. This was being baled up, and then it could have, those fields run forever back through there. That fire would have burnt for all day before it would have went out.
Well, to be honest, I can count. There's a one that was just harvested, I don't know, maybe a week or so ago, but I can count 5 houses around that field, and that's next door to me. And so, if it catches fire, that's
fields.
right.
There's equipment sitting out in those fields that can be burned up, and you're liable if you get that fire going. You're liable for the damage that it causes. I've got a little graphic here that I was sent this week on fireworks safety, and what would you guess is the number one injury, bodily injury from fireworks? What would you guess?
I would say hands.
I'd say
You're
hands,
right.
sparkle burns, those kind of things.
Hands and fingers are 36%, and what do you think would be followed by hands and fingers?
Feet.
Eyes.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, I didn't think about it. I was thinking you drop them on your feet.
Eye, head, face, ear, head injuries in general, but eyes, they're at 19% of all fireworks injuries involve eyes, hands.
Well, I guess it would be a good idea to put on glasses if you're just going to a show, too, because if you're looking up, the ashes can hit you,
Exactly.
Right?
Then leg is not too far behind, 10%.
Oh, there we go.
10% on your feet, legs. Just your body and your trunk of your body is 11%. Then your arms are like 5%. But your hands and fingers and your eyes are at most at risk when you're doing fireworks. And we can definitely take some clear safety glasses, probably $2 or $3 for a pair of clear safety glasses at most, to protect one of the most precious things we have is our eyesight. And every year, one more way to look at it, every year there's thousands of people that are going to wind up in emergency rooms because of fireworks. If you're going to shoot fireworks this year, guess what? You're in that lottery. You are in that lottery, and there's going to be thousands of names drawn out of that lottery every year to wind up at the emergency room. So
Great way to put it, and I know all of us are probably sitting there thinking, well, I remember when we had that close call.
Well, what's the first thing you throw on it if it does all go wrong and something lands on that foot? That would be exactly what I would drop it on my foot. That's my big old feet are always in the way. So what do you do? Do you throw until the ambulance can get there or until you can get to the hospital, to get attention? Do you throw a towel on it? Do you want to throw water on it? What do you put on it if you get burned? What's the best thing to do?
If it depends on the situation, there may not be anything you can do except get away from it if you can. Once you get into a runaway event with fireworks, you may just have to run for it.
Back up and let her rip.
There may not be anything else you can do, but as far as escape routes, those are things you need to plan out. And I know I've talked to people that do that. They anchor their bases that they're going to fire their mortars out of. They'll screw them down to a piece of plywood so they don't turn over. So they can make it safer. And that's part of following the directions and planning and not having a bunch of stuff sitting around that you'll fall over if you do need to run, turn around and fall over, break an arm. There's multiple ways to hurt yourself with fireworks.
A lot of chairs and stuff sitting around.
Chairs and things like that to fall over if you do need to get away, quickly from the event. But just looking for any anything that could be ignited. I think concrete's a nice, smooth, level surface, but you still need to anchor maybe your bases to a piece of plywood or something like that so they don't turn over.
Not grandma's flower pot, right?
No, don't improvise with.
I blew up a few of them in my day. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Don't play pranks on people like shoot, like, well, I'm just going to shoot a bottle rocket, at somebody for fun. Watch this, those things. Again, if you were to hit somebody in the eye, there's so much potential to hurt somebody if you get to trying to play a prank on somebody.
Oh, my kids get me with those poppers all the time. I hate those things because they'll run up behind you. It's the ones that you just throw on the ground and they pop or snap.
But a lot of what you'll see on shows that we were talking about earlier is pranks that people are trying to pull on somebody else that go awry, and somebody winds up getting hurt.
Use common sense and be safe and enjoy your celebration. We can't thank you two gentlemen enough what you do for our communities. And have a safe, happy 4th of July, and thank you for being here. Remind us all what we need to be doing to celebrate with our families and make it a great holiday. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Chief Francis, look at him and say, no more flower pots, Ty.
No, I've given up the flower pots.
Poor Grandma.
I gave them up when I was 8. I gave them up when I was 8.
8:46, Tess and Ty. We're going to change gears. We'll be with you. Back with Mr. Vinson, actually, here in just a few minutes. Tess and Ty on 103.3 WPKY.
You do it right to make updates to your home. Lowe's does it right too with July 4th savings throughout the store. Like $15 off gallon cans and $45 off 5-gallon pails via Lowe's gift card rebate when you buy select paint and stain. Get up to 40% off select appliance special values. And with your Lowe's Advantage card, ask for up to 24 months no interest on purchases of $19.99 or more. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Offers valid through 7/10. Credit offer valid through 7/7. Minimum purchase required subject to credit approval and can't be combined with other credit offers. Exclusions apply. U.S. only.
WPKY. Here are your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecasts.
Looks like scattered showers and thunderstorms, mainly this afternoon. Partly sunny otherwise, a high 87. A slight chance continues tonight, a 40% chance, a low down to 72. Your Independence Day looking like a 50-50 shot of showers and storms. Should be early and clearing out for the evening, a high of 89 with a low 4th of July night of 72 under mostly clear skies. Again for today, a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms, mainly in the afternoon, a high 87. It's 80 at your WPKY Weather Center.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Wallace Towing.
Are you struggling to afford health care or medications? Let Health First help you. Whether you're insured, uninsured, or underinsured, you will still be cared for at Health First Community Health Center. We offer financial and prescription assistance to all those that qualify, which is based on income and household size. Contact our office for more information at 365-9455 or visit our website. Same-day appointments and walk-ins are always welcome. Located at 1100 South Jefferson Street in Princeton. At Health First, your health is our first concern.
Dove Award-winning Artist of the Year, 4 Grammy nominations. Recently finished touring with Mariah Carey, Lionel Richie, and Chris Tomlin. Contemporary Christian artist Torrin Wells is coming to Princeton for SummerSlam 2019. Joining the show is American Idol and Dove Award-winning artist Colton Dixon and Canadian GMA Award winners The Color. Mark your calendars for July 27th for this free music festival on the Butler Lawn in downtown Princeton.
And I am not alone.
1580 103.3 WPKY, and of course I love today. I love today because we have so many good guests, and this is one of them that is near and dear to my heart. Anytime you're talking about agriculture and kids in the same breath, I'm all about it, and I get excited, but it's close to my heart. Mr. Vinson, we have here in the studio, and of course, he's spent a lifetime serving the community and education and agriculture-based, and I love that.
Welcome.
Thank you for being here.
Good to be here, and I thank you for asking me.
Well, we're tremendously excited to have you here. Recently, you were at the State FFA Convention and were honored by the National Association of Ag Educators as you got a service citation from them. And it's been 35 years of teaching and 35 years of, more than that, of serving your community. You live in Fredonia, and you were recognized for not only your outstanding teaching abilities, your mentoring, but just service to the community. Let's talk about that passion for a minute and how it all got started for Dwayne Vinson?
Well, let me just say, I started out at West Hopkins High School teaching agriculture in 1973.
Oh, wow.
And taught 31 years in Hopkins County, then for 12 years at Murray State University. And but let me say this too, as you could expect, anybody that's received an award, any man that's received an award, has also got a woman back home. It needs to be, need to say thank you for standing with me. One quick story. Can I tell a quick story?
Yes, sir. We want stories. We love stories.
In my job, I've had to be away from home probably 5 to 6 weeks a year because of state conventions, state fair, and so on. And I never will forget one time I pulled up at the FFA camp. The FFA director came out, the camp director came out and said, "Your wife is on the phone. She's been on the phone 2 or 3 times with me. Said, as soon as you get here, that you need to call her immediately." Well, it kind of excited me. I thought, oh my gosh, what in the world has happened? I called her up without doing anything else. I just told the bus driver, I said, "Watch these kids while I'm gone." I called her up and she said, "You picked a fine time to leave me." I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "We have a heifer cow out here, calf, that's not supposed to be pregnant, but she's out here trying to have a calf." And said, "You picked a fine time to leave me. What am I supposed to do?" I said, "Call my friend, Wayne Allen Prowl." I said, "He can come out there and he can help you with it." And sure enough, he, helped deliver this calf. Well, guess what we named this calf? For those of us old enough to remember,
Lucille.
Her name was Lucille. You picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille. That's right.
Story. Let's talk about your fine family because your daughter Michelle,
right,
and you have a granddaughter JC, who is a rodeo star.
Right.
That's I call her rodeo star, rodeo queen.
Rodeo queen, she was,
and does barrel racing and stuff. But this life, this rural life, this agricultural life. If you're from Fredonia, what an incredible community that is. But not only have you instilled education in some of the folks that you've touched their lives over the years, but what a great way to make it about family and make it about service and touching other people and allowing them to see through you achievements and then what they can do moving forward. Let's talk about that.
Well, first of all, let me say I feel uncomfortable bragging on myself. I just can't do that. But because I've got to say, if you look at the last line of the FFA motto, it says "living to serve," and I look at that with a passion. I look at that and say, I look back at those who have helped me out so many times during the years. Even during failures, they still patted me on the back and said, "Good job." And I appreciate that, and I remember those people. And I'm always afraid to call names. I don't want to do that. But I can think of a lot who have done that. And for this tradition that I think that all of us have had, that lived on a farm, and we grew up, we worked, we saw good years, we saw bad years, but we stood behind each other. We always worked as a family. And for that reason, I think a lot goes into that, saying, we've been successful in the things we've done because we stood together as a family.
Well, there's nothing like a rural agricultural life. And you were in the classroom 35 years, or maybe even more than
31 years. 31 years in public schools, 12 years at Murray State.
Yes. So think of all the lives you've touched. And I know off the air we've talked about several students that have come back and thanked you. How does that make you feel to have someone come back and go, "You know what, you pushed me," or you made me feel special, and I knew that I was going somewhere special because of what you did for me?
Okay, here's where I go. I say, okay, I'm going to sound like I'm really patting myself on the back, and I don't mean to, because I try to treat all these students the same. I really did. But I remember I was keeping a ball game door. I was keeping the door at the ball game, and one young man who had been out of school for 20 years, his name was Marty. That's all I'll say. His name was Marty. And he will admit, if he was here right now, he was a ringtail tutor. I call ringtail tutors whenever they were in class.
Yeah.
Every class has a ringtail tutor. And
I was one. I'll admit
one of them. Okay. Yeah. Well, and he's just one of those kind of kids that you knew he had a lot of potential, and you tried your best. I always said every time I'd take a kid outside of a classroom, and somebody would say, one of them would say, "Why are you picking on me?" I said, "No, as long as I'm talking to you, try to encourage you, it means I've still got hope for you." But this particular kid came up to me, I was keeping the ball game, and he said, "I just want you to know," he says, "it's been 20 years, it's taken me this long to thank you for everything you did for me and keep encouraging me and doing what you did for me. He said, I've gone through school, graduated high school, graduated college, I've got a good job now. And he said, you're one of the major contributing factors to that. And I said, oh, my goodness, after 20 years, it took you that long to think. I'll say that long. At least after 20 years, he thanked me for it, and I really appreciated it.
There's no doubt about it that how it warms your heart. But if you're not going to brag on yourself, let me brag on you just for a second here.
No.
So some of the awards and honors: 2009 Farm City Educator Excellence in Youth Agriculture Education. That was from Madisonville Hopkins County Chamber of Commerce. You've been on the fair board over there in Hopkins County for several years. Honorary membership in the Hopkins Central FFA, the Caldwell County FFA, Madisonville North Hopkins FFA, Teacher of Teachers Award, Kentucky Vocational Agricultural Teachers Association, Regional Chairman, again, of the Kentucky Vocational Agricultural Teachers Association. And that's just awards and honors. He has professional activities, Teacher of Agriculture for all those years, West Hopkins High School, Murray State University, mentor, instructor, site-based decision-making council, board member of the Fair Board, as mentioned, and regional chairman of the Kentucky Vocational Agricultural Teachers Association. So the list is on and on. But I know you brought in the official manual of the Future Farmers of America. Let's talk about what that organization means to you and what it can mean for a young person that is involved in that organization.
I think a lot of kids get a bad rap. I'll put it that way, as saying they're just not, there aren't any good kids anymore. That's not true. There are a lot of good kids out there. There are a lot of good kids that are still an inspiration to me. I see things that they do. I've seen them come together, have prayer meetings before school. I've seen them come together, and they're very open about sharing their faith. And it's an inspiration to me how bold they are with doing that sort of thing. And at the state convention just not long ago, when I was at the state convention, there were young men and women, both, that would say, yes, sir, no, sir. They would open the door for me. And I guess it's because I'm older. I don't know. But I think they did it for everyone. They would open the door for me and would always speak, say hello, which means a lot to me. And by the way, FFA no longer is just a bunch of boys.
Right.
Matter of fact, I think if we went to FFA camp this week in Hardinsburg, Kentucky, we'd see it's probably about a 65%, 35%, 65% girls. And there are, I know at least, I'm almost afraid to say, I know in the regional this year, the regional officers, I think, if I'm not mistaken, out of the 6, I believe there are 4 or 5 girls that are regional officers, only 1 or 2 boys. So the girls are just taking over, Tess.
Hey, it's not a bad thing. FFA was something that really, that was my favorite classes, was my ag classes every day. I looked forward to them. From the small animal science to, hey, I took auto mechanics, thank you very much, and I loved every minute of it. And I still use all the stuff
and it helps you now.
Hey, I can fix tractors and all kinds of stuff that I couldn't do before, but I can now. And I'll never forget doing a speech on horticulture, and my dad and I had gone out and we planted 600 strawberry plants.
Did you really?
And I won that year and did my speech down at Murray State. I saw you had that shirt on, and that was something that I'll never forget. But it all started from FFA. I could get choked up real quick here in Caldwell. And now I look at my daughter. Of course, she's a freshman, and she just joined FFA this year and started her introduction to agriculture classes. And my son is just starting hauling hay with Roy Jean. And, of course, they're being raised up on the farm with their grandpa and all of us. And that's a way of life that it's precious to me.
Let me say something else, too. I know when I began teaching in 1973, more than likely, I'm going to say 60 to 70% of my students lived on farm. And it used to be mostly just farmers. That's what you taught. You taught production agriculture. But no longer is it just that way. I mean, I try to divide it in at least 7 or 8 different areas right now of agriculture. I mean, you're talking about horticulture, natural resources, processing, forestry. And I look back and I see several students that I've had in class that are successful in agribusiness, not just farming. Matter of fact, when I retired in 2000 from teaching public school in 2004, out of 250 students I had in my class in our agriculture program, I believe there were only 4 students that were in that program that the sole income of that family was from farming. And I'd say it's probably the same way right now in Caldwell and Crinton and other areas, Lyon County around same thing. And for that reason, though, there were still a lot of them that went into agriculture, even though they didn't live on a farm. And that, you just look around this community, how many jobs have something to do with agriculture?
And I was going to ask you, if a young person out there listening that loves agriculture, going into that field, what areas of agriculture do you see on the horizon that would be very beneficial to a young person studying? My son's studying agriculture. He's not sure what he wants to do with it. He was an FFA and decided, you know what, I live in a rural community. What kind of advice would you give a young person that's considering an agricultural career?
Of course, that's a good question. And I know it depends really on kind of what they want to do. There's all sorts of jobs. Some may have to move away from here. But I don't think, I'm going to really step out of here on a limb.
Yeah, that's
agribusiness, I think, is something. If you look at agribusiness, how many jobs that have to do with ag business? Maybe it's in the chemical field, Monsanto, Pfizer Genetics, any numbers of things like that. We hear so much about genetically grown corn and beans and whatever else. And there's just so many jobs out there that's related to agribusiness.
And cutting-edge technologies for these young people.
Precision farming. And of course, one thing I did when I was working in Murray State, I worked for the Hudson School of Agriculture when I was down there for at least 3 to 4 years. I did some recruiting as well as teaching some classes. And I know one of the big areas at that particular time was precision farming. And I had some that were going to precision farming where
as he explains,
for some people for someone who doesn't know what that is, you program in your coordinates on your tractor or your spray rig or whatever, and you just about let it go. Whatever
turn on the radio, enjoy the air conditioning, and let her work.
I even know one fellow has a TV in his tractor. There you go.
The stigma is different now than what it used to be. Because back in the day, they used to, he's just an old farmer. He's a dirt farmer. He's not very smart.
Right.
I'm going to tell you what, these dirt farmers,
they
really have to know a lot between the chemicals that they spray, even how to handle them.
Sure.
There is so much chemistry involved in all of it and physics. Don't get me wrong, a cow is still a cow, but the regulations to raise one are so much different now.
Well, let me give an example of that. I know it is possible. This is going to seem impossible, but I do know cutting edge technology even has, I've been told, somebody's going to say I'm crazy for saying this, the most calves one cow has produced in 1 year is 60.
No, that's true. That's true. I actually know that to be true. We're looking at the same articles.
Super ovulation with embryo transplant.
Right. And you talk about engineering. That's part of agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
You want to build something with robotics. That's part of agriculture.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Anything you can think of in the sky's the limit. They talk about the glass ceiling. Hey, that's been broke a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the neat thing is it's even in our country state to state, because you have different crops and different types of farming in all across this country, and the methods are different, the methodology is different, the technology is different for each one. So the sky, I would think, would be the limit, just like I said, especially if a young person wants to go to school and get out and travel.
Well, I know there were some friends of mine not long ago that told me that they had some visits to some different farms from folks from Russia, and they were trying to learn our farming techniques. So people come from other parts of the country, other parts of the world to the United States, even this area through here, learn how to farm.
Yeah, and it's cutting edge. We've got university, we've got a research center out here that has produced cutting-edge technologies for farming all over the world. And then, of course, the Hudson School of Ag over at Murray State University, leading technology, leading the way in many areas.
Well, we are fortunate in this area to have so much and a wealth of information right here in this area. We're kind of in a hub, right in a centralized location of a lot of people who really know what they're doing.
Well, even the growing of hemp.
Right.
Yes.
Which is a big thing now for Murray State University. Dr. Tony Brannon, which I'll call his name for sure, is one of the leading producers of and promoters of hemp production in this state of Kentucky. And not to get high on,
right,
but for industrial hemp, things that could be used for the good of mankind. I'll put it that way.
Do you see it making it? I mean, it seems like legislation at the federal level and at the state level is starting to get on board with this. Do you see it increasing, or do you see us backing off from it? I mean, we've got
No. I think for sure it is
here to stay.
It's here to stay.
Yeah.
And I know one fella I was told not long ago, or Dr. Brent told me this. He said, well, I'll just say what he said. He said, I used to grow tobacco, which killed people. Now that I'm growing hemp to help people. And so
great point. Yeah.
Well, I really believe that the state of Kentucky is going to teach the rest of the country how to do it and do it right, because we've had the guts, and we've had a lot of farmers in this area that have had the guts to say, you know what, I've never done it, but I'm going to learn. And, I've never done it that way, but I'm going to learn.
Yeah.
And I think that, they need to be commended for that, because we've got some smaller farmers that tried it too. It wasn't just the big boys that had all the help. We had a lot of guys that, like Shane Bogle, that would sit down and really go through these guidelines with these farmers, and we're fortunate to have those.
Oh, you bet. And like anyone across the state of Kentucky can tell you that this area, Caldwell County, particular area, this area through here, has cutting-edge technology as far as farming practices, agriculture. I'll just say agricultural in general. But let me say one more thing about the FFA, okay?
Yes, sir.
You can say everything about the FFA. I'm all about that.
Well, I've had some students just say to me, said, oh, come on, you weren't bashful at one time or another. Yes, I was, too. I couldn't hardly get in front of a class. I remember Mr. Dale Fine taught a speech class, and I was in that class. I remember the first time I ever got up, I choked up and couldn't hardly talk. And I just, I guess people thought I was crying. I don't know what they thought I was doing. I thought about crying because I couldn't hardly do it. But I learned through the FFA, and I told myself, well, no one can do this any better than me. And I tried to make myself better, and I made myself better through the FFA. And so for that reason is one reason that I do the service that I do to try to help other students that are growing up now, to see them in probably the same mindset that I had whenever I was growing up, to say, look what this can do for you. I remember as a kid I would see these blue corduroy jackets come in to school, and whenever they're getting ready to go for a competition, they'd be in their dress slacks and their white shirt and tie and that blue corduroy jacket. And I thought, boy, that really looks official, Then I'd come to Princeton, and I'd see some of them going through town, not only through Caldwell, but even from other parts of the state. And it was just so impressive to me. And I learned a lot of those people that wore those jackets, how successful they became. And so for that reason, I've got to say the good Lord plus FFA has helped me so much more than what anything else has done. And so for that reason is the reason that I've been helped. And I think anyone that would admit it would have to say there's a saying that says no man is an island to himself. And so everyone has had someone to help them some way or another, and I think that's one thing the FFA has done for me, and I know it's doing for a lot of others. And I wish everyone had the opportunity sometime to go to a competition, like where I judge the chapter meeting. And I'm going to say another one that goes along with me a lot of times. We judge in about 4 or 5 different regions in the state, as Gary Baker here in the county. And we go around the state, and even the state competition, we judge chapter meeting contests. It's not just a motion, an amendment, and lay on table. It's limit debate. It is division of the question. It is all sorts of things. It gets deep, and you say, how in the world do those kids do that? But they do.
Oh, you want to hear a good debate. You
Yes.
attend one of those. Now those will actually really surprise you, I think.
Oh my goodness!
And then they're
yeah.
impressive because you see these kids using Robert's Rules of Orders. You see them getting up, and I think you hit the nail on the head. FFA puts kids out of their comfort zone.
Leadership.
And it's leadership and learning.
It is.
And it's fantastic. And what a life you have led in helping our kids and mentoring to all these students, and not just students, but just people across the entire community of Fredonia and here in Caldwell County and parts beyond. So
I hope I can continue to do it because I enjoy it. It's a calling. I've got to say it's a calling. It's something that I enjoy doing. Those have helped me, and I want to continue to try to help those who still need some help out there, and it's encouragement.
Thank you so much for what you've done. Congratulations on this award, and of course, pretty soon you're up for the national award here from this one.
Know.
So
I think I find out July the 15th where I won the national. I don't know. Maybe I did. But if I didn't, that's okay.
Well, you're still going to keep on working and doing what you do no matter what. I know it.
I am. I'm going to try my best.
Well, best of luck in the National, and keep us up to date on that. We'll be following it, and when you win that thing, we'll have you back here. Dwayne
Thank
Vinson.
you so much for being here. When it's in your heart, it stays there, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
All right.
Thanks so much. 9:10 with Tess and Ty. And, of course, we've had a wonderful and a full day today. And, my, what a finale there with Mr. Vinson. And we sure appreciate that he's going to be there. Now, you're going to be in the Valley today, right? You
yes.
wouldn't miss that, in the world.
No.
Fredonia has Big Boom tonight. That's going to be thunder in the Valley. And, of course, they're going to have all the happenings there in the park. And then the food and live music.
Eric Corner.
Oh, it doesn't get any better than that. So make sure that you wave at us and tell us hi. It's Tess and Ty, 103.3 WPKY. Stick around. Audrey Lamb is up in just a little bit. She's going to get you caught up on the news and the weather and the sports in WPKY.
Serving Caldwell County since 1950. We're 1580, 103.3 WPKY Princeton. Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Partly sunny this morning, 50-50 chance of showers. High 87, 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight, low 73. 4th of July, 50-50 shot of showers. Maybe a thunderstorm in the afternoon, mostly sunny, a high 89. And it should clear out